So was I wrong about Descent 3rd edition? I know it's really not 3rd edition, but I'm calling it 3rd edition because I bought into 1st and loved it, bought into 2nd, and I was on the fence with 3rd, kind of stepping down, stepping back. And of course, now that it's out in the wilds and people have been able to play it, not only YouTube videos, but also a number of Facebook groups, opinions of YouTubers and board gaming members that I respect, not only, or I appreciate. I look to them as a mentor, not only because we have similar tastes, but they tell it like it is. They're really looking. It's not like, hey, here's your free copy and talk about it. It's like, they've spent their own hard-earned money, their literal life force, and they're exploring it and they're playing it. And I have to say, it looks extremely well done. Now, being a Descent 1st and 2nd edition fan, appreciating Terranoth, even with the usual Fantasy Flight shenanigans. Look, I can be angry at them for dumping X-Wing 1.0, but I can still love Descent. You know, I can kind of separate that. I'm trying to exercise impulse control and not jump in to Descent 3rd edition. But more and more what I'm seeing, I think it comes down to setup. I really think it comes down to setup. And this is what has me really intrigued. Certainly, I'll be honest with you guys, I always am. App-based stuff, if that's the only way to play, I don't like it for a variety of reasons, mainly the legacy aspect. Now, Hero Quest is going to be dropping in a little while, a couple of months, and Hero Quest is playable, as always, but also there is going to be a companion app. Descent 2nd edition. Fritz, that was app-based. Yes, it had the app-based, but it also had the card module to let you play cooperative, and it had the offline campaign mode, one versus many, Overlord versus the players. Take your pick. In that perspective, I regularly played the app, and there were things I enjoyed about it, simply because it did automate things. But I knew I always had that fallback, so 15 years from now, if I want to play Descent, for whatever reason, I can. So I didn't like that idea of an app. But I also love Lord of the Rings, and I've had a chance to play that app-based game because my friend owns the content, which is good because then I can just use his copy and it's painted amazingly. But this Descent, what I'm seeing, takes that even further. They've really fused a fusion of analog and digital. So I'm looking now and saying, I've seen a couple of setups, and I think the app depends on your setup. Now, ideally, I understand if you're playing at a club or a gaming group, you can have it on your phone or you can have it on a tablet. But in terms of solo play, I see it almost as like a D&D type thing, a D&D experience. A couple of people, what they have, and of course this is dependent on your setup, they've got their dedicated gaming table. And some of these are very complex. Other ones are just, a nice little overlay with some felt. They've got Descent set up on that. And then right behind that is a big screen TV that they are streaming the app to. They're connecting the app to. So you have this third wall of the game that you're able to play with the app and interact, and you're not like turning your head awkwardly to the side to look at the app and move stuff. It's literally big. It's in front of you. You've got some good sound. That type of setup, now I'm looking and saying, well, yeah, that really looks neat. I've got the TV in the Fritz cave. I've got the gaming table. Move some things around. Like, that could work. And I'm seeing the combination of the 3D terrain. I'm seeing the miniatures. I was kind of not that impressed by the initial artwork. Right here, I'm talking myself into it, right? Extremely poor impulse control. But seeing that artwork, I wasn't initially sold, but now I'm like, it kind of works with the design of the new miniatures. It's like Terranoth got a little bit more grimdark. Can I say those two statements in a row without Games Workshop coming after me? But the model line has matured with Terranoth and Descent 3rd edition, which I know isn't a 3rd edition, but I'm calling it 3rd edition. And of course, the big models, the epic models, it looks like Fantasy Flight not only innovated, and they've been known for their innovation. They're like, we're not just going to innovate and take things a little bit further and add a couple other things. It's like, no, we've got this app-based thing down because we did it with Descent 2nd edition. We did it with Lord of the Rings. And now moving into this, and Mansions too, moving into this, we're going to blow this up. This is going to be like the flagship of the fusion of digital versus analog, digital and analog. And maybe that's the way to go. Maybe there's a lot of possibility from that perspective. I mean, I think the good analogy I'll leave you guys with, I am a massive fan, enthusiast, and participant in the Neverwinter's Night community. Played it initially back on my budget e-machine back in the day, upgraded my rig to something really great, play it on there. And I was excited when it came to tablet/phone. But part of me was like, you can't play it on that. You can't. It's too small. The experience, you need a bigger thing. You need a correct interface. You need your hotkeys. You need your clickies. You need the mouse. And I was wrong on that. I find myself playing it more on the digital side with a phone or a tablet. Crazy enough, a phone, that I'm loving it. I'm getting more play in. So this is kind of the question. If Descent with the app not only pulls me in more, but through streamline, efficiency, updated quests, downloads, which is fair to pay for. That's fair. If that gets me playing more than just straight up analog, that alone with everything else might very well be worth the price of admission.